Hopefully I have useful knowledge. I'm Amanda. I'm a professional runner and a Halo athlete, and I'm going to be the community manager at Black Canyon. So anyone who uh, booked with the Halo hotels, I'll be taking care of the WhatsApp group, like Hillary said, and kind of be around in charge and can answer questions and all that. So I have a little presentation I'm going to share. Hopefully mine works.
Honey.
Okay. Can everyone see that? Okay. Okay, so pre-race strategy and logistics. Some of you might have done this before, you might be brand new, so the point-to-point can be a little confusing with all the buses and parking and the shuttles and everything. So I took this directly from the website. I'll go over this part a little quicker because you can go on there and it's laid out on the very first page of the website. But it has the event location. We've got, so the courses are point to point, both the 100K and the 50K. The 100K starts at Mare High School, which you cannot park at, but you can be dropped off at. I think you can park down the street. So if you have crew driving you instead of taking the shuttles, you can park down the street. You just can't park at the actual high school in the lot. It does get filled up pretty quick, so I would go early if you are doing that and wanting to park. Otherwise, the shuttles are super easy, and I have the shuttle lists with the times and the waves on this page too on the bottom. The 100K finish is at the Emory Henderson Trailhead. You can't park there either, so you have to take shuttles from the Anthem outlets to the trailhead. It's not a very long shuttle. Aravaipa does a really good job. Every one of their races are put together very well. So their shuttles run really smooth. You just park at the Anthem outlets. Takes like I think they said it's a 10-minute shuttle to the finish. And crew's allowed. It's all free. So the crew can ride and watch you finish too. And then the 50K finish is at Deep Canyon Ranch, which for the 50Kers, you park at Deep Canyon Ranch, and that's where you get the shuttle that takes you to the start. And then when you finish, you're just at your car. So that's kind of nice. It's pretty easy. The bib pickup stuff. So on the website, the red words give you direct links with directions if you need to figure those out. So you have 3 different areas: Deep Canyon Ranch, Chalene's on 17. It'll give you the directions to that, and the Aravaipa headquarters, just depending on what day and time you can go. And then event timeline. You should have gotten for your wave. You should have gotten an email that says what wave you're in, which will tell you what start time. So that'll determine what bus you have to take. If you're taking a bus, you don't have to take a bus. They let you get dropped off at the start. It can be limited parking. And then the bus schedule down there for everyone. And all of this is on the website. I think we'll also send this out afterwards. It'll be available so you can look at it again. Okay, so the 100K course, I don't know exactly who's doing, like how many 100Kers we have versus 50Kers, but the 100K is obviously don't mind the Strava versus the website distance. It's only a half-mile difference. GPS does that. It's not a big deal. One of them says 62.2 and one's 62.7. It's all going to feel the same at that point. So the 100K course is point to point, starts at Mare High School. It ends at, what was the finish line called? It was Emory Henderson. Finishes at Emory Henderson. There's tons of aid stations. So even if you don't have crew, you can easily do this alone. You just would probably want to bring water bottles and a pack, and then have some drop bags, and we'll go over like drop bag gear and that sort of thing. But this in the bottom right shows you, this is also on the website, but it shows you the aid stations, what mile it's at, if you can have crew, and if you can have drop bags. And the way that the drop bags are spaced out, you could easily put everything you possibly need in these drop bags and get them. They're always super well organized. It's not a headache to do drop bags at Aravaipa's events. So don't worry if you don't have crew, it doesn't matter. And the aid stations are spaced out, I think, between 5 to like 8 or 9 miles. So some of those stretches with 9 miles, you'd want a couple of water bottles because it can get blazing hot in the desert. But as long as you have a couple, there's plenty of aid stations, especially with all the downhill. But everyone will tell you that this course is a net downhill, which is true, but it can be a little tricky because the first 37 miles is so much downhill. It feels like it's so easy. You're flying, you can totally trash your legs, which a lot of people do. And then you get to Black Canyon City and all the climbing starts, and you're in the exposed hot desert. It's almost always super hot. Doesn't always happen. I have been there. I raced the what was the 60K, now the 50K, when it was pouring down rain and muddy. But even then it was kind of warm. It's like warm rain. Most of the time, it's like 90 degrees. So it's pretty warm. And once you get to Black Canyon City, you start this big climb that also has a pretty long section after that where before you can get aid again. And I see this every year because if I'm not there, I watch the live stream like a crazy person. Just all day on my couch. Like there's a hole in the couch by the end of the day. And I see it every time, from professionals to the back of the pack. Everyone slacks on the water. They think it's just like the rest of it and don't realize that from 37 miles to the finish is where the challenging part starts, not only because you're tired, but because that's where all this climbing is kind of condensed in. Um, and if it's hot and you don't have enough water, it can get a little rough. So prepare for that. We'll talk a little more about pacing too, but carrying water bottles, making sure you fill up at the aid stations, use drop bags if you need to. If there's only 50 to 100-ish feet of gain, which might not seem like a lot if you do these ultras all the time. But if you think of it as condensed into the second half, it can feel like quite a bit if you kind of don't take care of yourself. Okay, we'll go on to the 50K. So the 50K also point to point. I would say the 50K is equally as good on the aid stations. You don't get drop bags though until the finish. So that's a little different. So if you think you need more stuff, you're gonna have to carry it on you the whole time. You probably don't. I mean, especially if the weather is really nice, which you'll know ahead of time. It usually seems pretty accurate. It's not really like Colorado weather where they tell you it's going to be hot and sunny and then it snows. So if it says the couple days before that it's going to be nice, you'll know what you're in for, or if you need to carry a rain jacket or something like that. But because it's shorter, you don't really need the drop bags anyways. You can have crew at one aid station before the finish, and the aid stations are spread out really well. And the nice thing about the 50K is that it is pretty much all downhill. And then you stop and then you don't do the what I consider like the harder part of the 100K. So it feels pretty fast and flowy, and it's little slightly less risky of blowing up, I guess. Depends. Everyone can make themselves blow up. Yeah, okay, so we'll move on. So gear to carry or to put in your drop bags. So this picture is actually me running the 60K when it was pouring down rain and super muddy. It was kind of nice, to be honest, but you don't get that very often. I have been one year where it was actually snowy, and then they delayed the start for a couple of hours. But every other time I've been there, it's blazing hot. And so I would bring all of this stuff that I have on this list, before you leave your house, whether it says it's going to be sunny or rainy, just so that you have it. What you're most likely going to need to have on you, like the whole race, is an ice bandana and arm sleeves for ice. If you cool yourself the whole race, even if it's 90 degrees, if you cool yourself the whole race and you drink water and you hydrate, then you're going to be fine. Like you're going to be fine in regards to the heat. Just because it's 90 degrees doesn't mean you have to suffer. Like if you just take care of yourself, then it can be pretty pleasant for 90 degrees. So the ice bandana, super nice. They're usually, I probably wouldn't use a buff. A lot of people make ones that have zippers on them now, so the ice doesn't fly out. So you can easily fill them. The volunteers at the Air Viper races are great. They'll help you fill them. Arm sleeves are super nice, not only for like protecting your arms from the sun, but you can shove the ice in there. And right on your wrist right here is the most important part to have to cool down. So if you wear an arm sleeve, if you can roll them down so that if you're too hot, they're not all the way up covering your arms. And you just make sure you put the ice right here and just fill it every aid station. And it's crazy. It keeps you really cool. So there's kind of specific areas, but then the ice bandana just on your neck wrapped around. Um, I know some people don't like hats, or sunglasses, but I think this is a really nice course. It helps you a lot to wear those things on a course like this where there's not really much tree cover. It's usually very exposed and sunny. The sun hat again is just going to help you keep cool. You could use it to stick ice in also, because if you just keep icing yourself, you're going to feel a million times better. Pack with water bottles or handhelds. I'm a pack person, it's my preference. I think I actually have a handheld in this photo, but I was only running the 60K. If I was running the 100K, I'd definitely wear a pack with 2 water bottles, or hold 2 handhelds. I just don't, that's a personal preference thing. Some people like handhelds, some people like packs. Um, the packs are nice because they can also be another storage area for ice. You can stick ice in the back, and just carry more and have your hands free so that you take care of yourself better. Um, Something that I'd suggest bringing that you probably, you may or may not need, if you know you're going to run into the dark, obviously you need a headlamp and you need to think about which drop bag or what area you're going to have that given to you by your crew. Some people don't expect to run in the dark and then they do. And so you need to bring a headlamp regardless, probably just in case. Because even a couple years ago, I think it was 2023, because of the snow and ice, the start got delayed 2 hours. And then all these people who had absolutely no thought of running in the dark were panicking at the finish or at the start line, trying to find headlamps because they knew they would run into the dark. So you never know what's going to happen. I think it's good to just have it, just bring it. You can stick it in a drop bag or not even use it, but at least you have it there. You don't want to be rushing down to the running store and spending $200 on a headlamp when you already have one. Yeah. Um, then rain jacket. I wore my rain jacket in this the entire race because it was raining. Hopefully you have nicer weather than that, although the rain is kind of nice sometimes. Just bring a rain jacket in case that's what the forecast ends up being. Even if you have to carry it, they're so light, and you don't want something so simple that you have so much control over to be the reason that you get taken out of the race or you can't finish. Because the rain is warm usually in Arizona, but not always. Sometimes it's pretty cold in the morning. And if you go into the dark and you're wet, then that could definitely take you out of your race, and that's not very fun. Okay, here's some strategy points that I came up with. So some of these you guys probably heard. So always start easier than you think you need to. I will admit I am not the best at doing this. A lot of times I go out way too hard and then I pay for it later. And this race, you can definitely do that so easy because of that downhill, especially if you're doing the 100K. So just go easier than you think. So even on the downhill portion to Black Canyon City, you might have some like tiny rollers in there, but it's pretty much downhill. And you can run really fast, especially because you're tapered and you feel fresh and you're excited. And then you get there and it's just like an oh no, and you just don't want that. So even when you're running downhill and it does feels like it's not that much effort, it should never feel like you're really pushing or like cardiovascularly working super hard. So just always go easier than you think. It will pay off, at least warm up that way, and then you can hammer the second half if you feel good. That's always the ideal scenario. Um, I've mentioned this a few times, but always take care of yourself all day. Hydrate, eat, and cool. Hydrate all day, even when it's cold in the morning. Because even on a nice hot day, the first couple hours can be kind of cold, and I think people kind of forget. So always drink water, electrolytes, just keep yourself hydrated all day and cool down if you know the forecast is going to be hot. That's something I've watched people do wrong so many times is that it's still cold in the morning. They don't really expect it. I don't know if people are just trying to save time or what, but they don't cool down ahead of time, and then it's too late by the time they do. And so if the forecast says it's going to be 70, 80, 90 degrees, whatever it is, even though it's only 8 a.m., if you're a little warm, like if you're not shivering, then I'd say you need to start cooling at the aid stations. So that's sponging water on you, putting ice in your bandana, putting ice in your sleeves, ice in your pack, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be crazy, but just at least a little bit so that you're never trying to fix a problem that already started. You're preventing the problem, at least that problem, like the overheating problem, from happening. It's so much easier to just prevent it from happening than to come back from it. For the 100K, I've already talked about this. So the hills start after Black Canyon City. So don't blow your legs up before you get there on the downhill. Um, Downhill really beats your legs up. It beats your legs up more than uphills in a lot of cases, especially if you're running them too hard. It's just that eccentric contraction. So it should be pretty comfortable effort before then. So use the downhill. It's like free speed, but you just don't want to push so hard that you're breathing hard. It's not a controllable pace. It's not a cadence that your legs are used to. Um, so just go out like you're running a long run in training, and it should be pretty comfortable. And then you get to Black Canyon City and you use what you got to start picking up and do what you can. For the 50K, there's little rollers, but it's mostly downhill. And so I think you can push a little bit more using the downhill because it's just a little less risky. You don't have to then have your uphill legs quite as much, and you don't have to go as far. And then a big thing that I think a lot of people forget about is that it's a really big mental game. So you want to stay positive and have mantras and words of affirmation like ready to go for when you need them. So even if you like run the perfect race and you're comfortable to Black Canyon City and then you're fueling yourself and whatever, at some point it's going to get really hard and you just don't want to get negative. Like it's going to get hard for everyone, but you've all trained for it, you're all ready for it. You have to realize that it does get hard for everyone from the front to the back. Everyone's just running different paces, and everyone needs to have, like, if you get negative and start thinking that way, it just spirals out of control, and that affects you physically a lot. And it's just something that, like, people work on their physical game all the time, every day, but don't work on their mental game quite as much. And if you have these like positive things you know to say to yourself when you're going through a hard time, or like mantras, it can really help you at least stay in a positive headspace. It's probably not going to just automatically make your legs like bounce back right away, but it can get you through that negative time or that hard moment that you're in. And in ultras, we all know the hard moments come and then they go away. You just have to try to get through them. And having these mantras has been something that I've done a lot. I know actually Tara, I think that's a big thing for Tara too. She can talk about it when she talks. But it helps a lot. And so I think when I first started doing that, like talking positive to myself and whatever, I thought it was kind of cheesy, but it works. So if you need some help, I just use this picture because it's something that's a race that I think of as one of the positive like areas that I go to when I'm in a hard space, like thinking of good times that I did something really well that was really hard. But some mantra ideas if you need some. I have this tattooed on my leg, relentless forward progress. That's a big one that I always use. Um, I can do more than I think. I'm ready for this. It's all fine, which I think is a funny one. I use that one when I really want to be negative, but I know I shouldn't. And so it's more like it's all fine, it's all fine. You're just trying to convince yourself, kind of fake it till you make it, that it's all fine. So whatever works for you. Be in the mile you're in. That really helps. I think if you break down, like you have 100K or a 50K that you're running, and you don't want to think, well, I'm 10 miles down, I still have 52 miles to go. Like that's too overwhelming. And your brain doesn't like it either. And so you need to break it up and be in the mile you're in. I think that helps a lot, especially like maybe break it down from like aid station to aid station and be in the mile you're in that segment. And it just helps you kind of, it seems more like doable when you break it down like that rather than I'm so tired and I still have 30 miles to go. Like you don't really want to think of it that way. Um, one foot in front of the other. Um, I am strong, I am capable. And some of those might sound cheesy, but they work. So you guys have a while to still try them. So I suggest trying them on your training runs because they do help. And then then you just know, like the more you practice it, the more you know it just comes to you in the race. Like you don't have to think about it. Like being the mile you're in or it's all fine. Like those just come to me in a race now because I've practiced it so much. It's not like I have to think, what are my words of affirmation or my mantras? Like, you don't want to have to do that. So you got to practice it just like any other part of training. All right. Hopefully people have questions. I don't know if you want to write them, if people have written them down in the chat or if we want to do like the handheld thing, Maggie.
Yeah, we can do that. There are a lot of questions about how you found your wave, but I think the chat answered them for everyone because I think you can go to Ultra Sign Up to look at what wave you're in for each race.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's funny you have your mantra tattooed because I know Tara does too. Well, she has a mantra tattooed, kind of a mantra. And then I have happy fun time tattooed as well, which is like a fun mantra. I don't know. It's like um yeah, Tara is in here somewhere. She's at the gym finishing her squats.
I'm right here, Maggie. I just
Oh,
talked to Jenna.
Oh, nice. I got
Can you
her
hear
in the
me?
secret gym. This is the VIP gym. So like I
Yeah.
texted the owner if she could like just lock up when she leaves. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm in the cool kids gym right now.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you guys
I
talking about before? I just got in here.
Yeah, well, Amanda was giving her mantras and like talking about positive self-talk, which actually I think there's scientific research that proves self-talk, like positive self-talk is actually like useful. It's a lot better
Yeah.
than like the mantra run angry.
oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I find that I had a really bad race at Hellbender in what was it, 23? It was like very negative mental race and like the whole race experience was just like negative. I did well. I did well, but I was just like it was like difficult and it was like mentally taxing. And by the end of it, I was just like so disappointed in myself, even though I did well. So like even if you hit your goals and you're still like having trouble mentally, it's not going to feel great. So I got a mindset coach after that, and she really helped me develop these mantras, like Amanda was talking about, and they've helped me immensely. Not only the mantras, but also, like Amanda said, staying in the moment. Just knowing that like the hard times will get better. It will get better eventually, and then it's going to get hard again. That's the thing. That's the thing about ultras. But if you just stay in the moment, it's a lot easier.
And I think sometimes if you're feeling like in a low, ask yourself if you've eaten something because like a lot of time it's just fueling that puts you in that low. There's a couple questions about like terrain, like how runnable are the trails, and then kind of related is like how big are the hills? Like I guess if someone's like nervous about hills, like what how can you describe them? So like technicality of the trails and then the hills. And then like shoe recommendations because well you guys are you both athletes, so I don't know. Amanda, you
Yeah.
could start.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Well, so we might, I don't know. Runnable is always like, kind of depends on the person, what people think, you know? I mean, I think this course is very runnable, but it is a little rocky. So in normal winters, it seems like most people have had pretty warm winters. So maybe a lot of people have been on trails. I mean, I have in Colorado because we have no snow. And so it's pretty comparable to what I'm used to. It normally wouldn't be like crazy technical. It's not that bad, but if you've been running on the road a lot, it can feel a little rocky. Um, if it rains, it can get pretty muddy. But normally it's pretty dry, pretty smooth for the most part with some rocky sections, I'd say. But Tara just ran it last year, so she might have more to say.
Yeah, that it's after, was it Deep Canyon? Yeah, Deep Canyon. Right? Yeah, there's Bumblebee, Deep Canyon, and then Table Mesa for the crewable aid stations. Is that right? I think so. Anyways, after a certain point, it's like at the, was it the 50K mark? That's when you start doing those like rollers. And so I would just like get stoked for that. Like you've been going downhill for so long that like it's almost, the change up is always almost really nice. There is that huge mountain after it's all escaping me. Black Canyon City, I think it is. Yeah, but that after Black Canyon City, there's that huge mountain, and it's actually really nice if you could just tell yourself, I'm gonna run every step of this uphill, because you can totally run the uphill. Even if you're just doing like grandma pace, you're just like putting one foot in front of the other, running at the slowest pace possible. You can definitely run up that entire mountain. It's not impossible to do that. And also you can hike too. It's nice to switch it up if you can like switch to hiking and running and just you know, differing that pace. It's helpful, but I mean, it is super runnable. And also just realizing too, like this is hard at this point when you start doing, when you get halfway through and you start going up, it it's hard for everybody. Everyone's struggling. This is the point. Everyone's having a hard time. If you could just stay positive, you know, you might be passing people and just like give them, I always, whenever I pass people in this last half, because I'm always passing people in this last half, mostly men, you know, I'm always giving them like words of affirmation, like you can do it and keep going, we're almost there, don't quit, this is a really hard race, like affirming them in that, but also being like encouraging them to go further. Anyways, back to the topic. The terrain, the first year I did this, I was really surprised at how rocky it was. And then I think going into the second and third year, um, I just, you know, was expecting that a little more. And then I realized like, actually, this isn't that bad. Like, it's really not that bad. I think somebody was saying that like, it was going to be like so easy, the terrain. And I think I was expecting that the first year. I tripped a lot and fell, got really bloody all 3 years. You might trip and fall. Just be expecting that. Um, oh, somebody said they broke their finger in, sorry, I can't find that chat.
Yeah, someone was asking you specifically like how to fall, because like guess they know you're the falling queen.
Dude, this race has, just try not to fall. This, I'm going to be honest, this race is violent. The rocks at Black Canyon, yeah, along the entire course, they're really sharp. Like I still have like a pretty gnarly scar on my elbow. My friend Abby, she was running the then 60K and she fell and like split her elbow open so much you could see her bone. We had to bring her to the ER. Um, there's a lot of
I
really
don't,
sharp
I don't
rocks.
know if you're making people feel better about this, Tara.
I don't know. I just want to be honest. Like, obviously, like I think I'm like on the side that's a little more accident prone. And I'm fine. Like I've always made it out without serious injuries.
We think Tara needs glasses is what the answer is, I think.
My dentist told me I probably might need like a mouth guard or something for racing. So I'm gonna get glasses. I'm
That
gonna get rec specs and a mouth guard.
well, someone asked about gaiters if you recommend them. Like I haven't run the race, but like I would say like if you haven't trained with gaiters, I wouldn't wear them. I don't know. What do you guys have a opinion on that?
Well, I
Yeah,
think people, oh, sorry.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I think people have enough time to try those out between now and the race that you could try them and see if they bother you or not. And then it's probably not a bad, like if they don't bother you at all, they're just there and you don't even notice them, it's probably not a bad idea. Um, I think like with the terrain, with the rocks, it's like it's not crazy rocky, but it's enough that you have to pay attention kind of all the time. So from what I remember, and so that can also be like a mentally exhausting piece of it, just paying attention, which I think makes it even more important to have like to work on your mental game before the race.
Yeah, there's a question about poles in there. I don't think I've seen people use poles, but would you guys ever use poles at Black Canyon?
No, you don't need them.
No, those hills, so the big hill is at mile 37 as you leave Black Canyon City. And it's like 700 to 800 feet, which feels pretty hard in this race because you don't get that until then. And it's hot and you're pretty far into the race, but you still have kind of a ways to go. And so I think people just a lot of times think, oh, this is just so hard. And like just knowing when you get to that point, it's going to be hard, but it's probably the hardest part of the whole race. And so if you're prepared for that and you go into it and like just hike if you need to, it's totally not a big deal because most of the race you're not going to have to hike. And so just hike if you need to. You get a nice little break. It's a good chance to take in food and more water. Just make sure that you don't leave Black Canyon City without refilling your water bottles and having enough uh, food, whatever you're eating, gels, or if it's real food. Yeah, and I'd say just use that to kind of take a reset, you know? And then after that, the hills are more like 200 feet for like the big ones. So they're not too bad, but there's quite a few of them.
There was a question about crew too. Amanda, I think you've crewed as well. Do people, if they're going to just get a economy rental, are they going to be fine going from aid station to aid station? And then someone asked if there's transportation between the aid stations from the race. I don't think Air Vipa offers anything, but
No, I don't think there's anything like crewing or shuttling crews around, but like the crew, I know for sure the crews are able to drive to the aid stations. The only thing to that is that the year where it was really rainy, one of the aid stations had this rocky area that I think used to be a river, which was a river on that day, that they made you drive through. And one of my friends had one of those like I didn't want to drive through it because I'm in a rental car. But I did it and it was terrifying the whole time because you're driving through the water. I'm like, this car is gonna die. And so many people were doing it. But then my friend had one of those tiny, like the tiniest car you can possibly rent. And it totally died from the water. I mean, she was like totally screwed up her rental car. Um, so if you have a tiny rental car, I'd say just park on the other side of that if that happens this year and walk in because it's not worth ruining your car. But most of the time you can drive to all the aids and it's not a big deal. There's some parking restrictions. So like you can drive to the start, you just can't park in the actual high school parking lot. It's pretty obvious when you get there. You just have to park along the street or I think the church has parking, but it usually is kind of hard to find a spot if you get there too late. But everything else I had a pretty easy time. Um, a lot of the areas are pretty big, and then the finish, you just park at the anthem outlets, and that the directions for all that are on the website, and then they shuttle you to the finish, and it's like a 10-minute shuttle.
hey, somebody asked what the parking's like for the 50K finish. I think it's like huge lot. That's pretty packed down, right?
Yeah, so it should be a pretty big lot. I know, so for the 50K runners themselves, they're all advised to park there and then shuttle to the start. And I know crews are allowed to go there. So it must be a huge lot. I mean, when I ran the 50K, it was a 60K. So the exact spot might be a little bit different, but it sounds like it's not an issue.
Oh yeah, and then a couple people asking about they think there'll be. I mean, I think shuttles run till the very end to accommodate runners that are like finishing
Yeah.
late. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like if people are out there running, there's shuttles going. That's how Air
Yeah.
does everything. They're not gonna cut it off just because it's midnight or whatever.
Unless you end up in like Sedona.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. I was pacing somebody that finished at 3 a.m. and
Hillary, you muted yourself.
I was just saying I paced somebody that finished at 3:30 a.m. Last year, and the shuttles were definitely going. The buses were warm. Yeah, they're still there for sure.
Nice. I have a question for, well, I know Amanda's gonna race the 50K, but she's using it as like a training run. She's just gonna like get her long run in, hang out with everybody. She's the community manager for the hotels for anyone staying with Halo. But then wondering what Tara is looking forward to running the 100K again, and curious why you want to run the 100K when you already have a ticket to Western States and you have such a big calendar. Like, what are you looking forward to, Tara?
I look forward to the competition in this race. So I started ultras in 2020, 2021, and I went out in 22 to do the Black Canyon 100K. And I went there and I was like, I'm going to get a golden ticket. I am the new kid on the block. I am amazing. I'm the best runner I know. It's coming from the East Coast where I was at the time. I mean, in my little area. And I was like, oh, I'm so great. And then I go there and I was completely, totally humbled, just so humbled. And so since then, I've gone back every single year to kind of like gauge where I'm at and see like the progress I've made. It's a fun race. It's a fun community. It's like a reunion with everybody. There's like all the friends I've made in ultras for the last, since 2021, 2022, they're there. It's a lot of fun, and it's really hard, and everyone shows up. There's a lot of competition. Yeah, it's a good time. It's hard, and that's why we do it though, right?
Yeah, thanks. I'm excited. This is gonna be a really awesome race. We have like 15 minutes. If anyone has more questions, we can pop them in, or you could use the raise your hand thing. I mean, I think we covered a lot. Amanda's presentation was awesome.
I think I asked people last time if anyone had a mantra or words of affirmation that they use that I didn't mention.
Oh, nice. Yeah. You could throw it in the chat or like raise your hand. Oh, people are asking about water crossings. Well, it's funny. I would
Oh.
imagine there wouldn't be any, but they got a lot of rain like this year.
Yeah, it depends on the year. So you kind of never know. Like, whatever year, I think 2024 was when Rachel Drake won. And they had like that epic water crossing where her and Becca something, um, like Becca fell into the stream. It was kind of dramatic, and Rachel made it all the way over because it looked kind of deep. But when I ran the 100K, there was no water anywhere, and it was like 90 degrees. So sometimes there's water crossings and sometimes there's not. Nothing is going to be like a river that's going to take you away, and nothing to be scared about. Because I'm a huge wimp and that would freak me out, and I don't think I'd do it. So there's nothing like that.
Yeah, people have mantras. Keep smiling. I get to do this one step at a time. More questions. Oh, they're asking about negative splitting. I mean, that's like the dream, right? If you could negative split the 100K, like Nick Curry style.
I was just gonna ask is like this one you're obviously not gonna negative split, but like Amanda and Tara, how close, not close to that, but like what have you guys planned on doing? Because you're obviously gonna run the first half probably faster.
Yeah, I'm especially on this course because of all the downhill. Like, even though you try not to fully send it so that you're wrecked, you're still naturally just going to be faster. But Tara, what did you do last year? Do you know if you were close to, like, how were your times the first half versus the second half last year?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to check. I don't really, I should look at that. Um, I think in my like planning of it, I was expecting for that natural fade of the body for that second half, and you're not going down a hill as much, but I ended up going faster than I thought I would be going for that last half. So I like blew my expectations out of the water just because I had legs for that last bit. So if you are kind of like what Amanda was saying, if you are able to like hold back just like a little bit in that first bit, it's so easy to go fast on that downhill. Like you feel so good going on that downhill. Like it's cool. You're running with a bunch of cool people, and everyone's like in a pack, and it's easy. And then like you get to that halfway, the Black Canyon City, I think it is. And you start going up and you're like, oh man, I should have gone a little slower. If you are able to hold back just a little bit, then I think you'll be fine. Yeah. And what I always say for like personally my pacing, it's always like comfortably challenging. So I want to be running at a pace that feels like, I could keep this up for a very long time. But I am challenging myself. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same thing, exact same thing that I do. Comfortably challenging. That's what I tell all my athletes too. So you're not just jogging along, doing an easy recovery run. But you should be able to say to yourself, like, can I maintain this or not? And you should be able to be going at kind of an all-day pace, but challenging yourself enough that, it's not like it feels a little quicker than a recovery run.
Someone had a question about pre-race, but there's like a schedule, and I think we'll resend it out to the Halo people. But it was about questions about bib pickup and drop bags and things like that. Amanda or Tara, either one, if you kind of remember how that day went, maybe you can like give us a walkthrough real quick, and then we can kind of wind down. If someone has any other questions, they can throw them in, but we'll just do like a couple more.
Yeah. Bib pickup is at, what is that called? That roadside restaurant.
Chilene's
I forget what.
on 17 or
Yeah.
something, I think it's called. Yeah.
They used to have it somewhere else and it was a little disorienting at this last place, but they changed it to this other spot. And it's pretty easy. You go in, the first thing you see are people they have like plastic bags. Airvipe is really good about like putting everything together before their racers get there, and it's all in like this enclosed plastic bag, and it has your everything you need. So clips for your bib, your shirt, your bib, and like some other information. And then you move on, and there's like this little expo. They have like some presentations. They have like some elite panels. But you can just pick up your bib and then like get out of there. It's pretty easy. And the parking's really good too.
Thanks. Yeah, Hillary said the expo is really cool. So if you get the chance to like walk around, there's a lot going on there.
Also,
Cool.
one thing to note about, I'll add one more thing about the expo. It's next door to, I don't know if anybody already said this, but the barbecue restaurant it's right next door to is delicious. So just FYI.
Nice. Lots of meat right before you run.
Might want to save that for after.
Yeah. I bet they have cornbread. Awesome. Well, again, I kind of wind down, but I appreciate everybody for hopping on, and like Tara for last minute hopping on during our workout. I thought it'd be a fun surprise. And thanks to Hillary for like this really cool idea with like the hotel thing. You guys, I started working with Hillary from the brand side when I worked at Tailwind, and I thought it was a cool idea. So now I'm working with Hillary, and it's an awesome idea of where to stay. Like you get to stay with everyone, and it makes logistics so much easier. So check them out on any of the Airvipa sites. We'll be doing more, but and then thank you, Amanda. That was like awesome presentation.
Yeah, and the
And
Nitty the Hill
also,
people, did we already mention we're going to be doing like I don't know if we want to call it happy hour.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Mary's staying in Prescott for Friday night, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
Amanda's Friday in Prescott, Friday at the Prescott Hotel, and then Saturday at the Anthem Hotel.
Yes.
Amanda's hosting my mom's shipping up some king cakes from Louisiana. If you don't know what king cakes are, you're in for a treat. It's basically sugary bread, but it's delicious. And yeah, it'll just be kind of a late afternoon, early evening dessert, like hang, swing by, grab some, just meet your fellow athletes, and yeah, all good vibes, great community. Huge thanks to all of you guys again for Amanda and Tara and Maggie, and then thanks to everyone for joining, and good luck out there. Have a blast. It's a super cool race. Very excited for you all. And yeah, hope you have a great time.
Thank you, everyone.
Good luck, everybody. It's going to be so fun.
Yeah, good
Thanks,
luck.
Sarah.
Have fun.